Hello there. Hope you're doing well. Hope things are going great for you and you're loving the Lord today and just enjoying His creation that is around us and the beautiful skies. In chapter 30 of the book of Psalms, we see here the psalmist who wrote this is talking about the Lord my helper. And he starts out about, "O Lord, thou hast lifted me up," and in verse 1, "and thou hast not made my foes to rejoice over me." And the psalmist says, "O Lord my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Sing unto the Lord, O you saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness." The reason being, because in verse 6 and 7, we see where he suddenly realized, and he said in verse 6, "And in my prosperity I said, I shall never be moved." In other words, in what I have, the material things that I have accomplished, the money that I have accumulated, the different things that I have purchased and have bought for myself, that was enough. That is enough to hold me and sustain me and keep me. But he sees that in verse 7, when he turned his back on the Lord, he didn't let God be number one. He took God out of that number one position in his life. He said in verse 7, "Lord, by thy favor thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled." In other words, he realized quickly that he couldn't make it on his own. He couldn't make it on what man made. He couldn't make it on the wealth and the material things that he had. In verse 8, he said, "I cried out to thee, O Lord, and unto the Lord I made supplication." And it said, "Hear, O Lord," in verse 10, "and have mercy upon me, Lord. Be thou my helper." And he will. You know, we can't trust in man's ways and man's things. They will fail us. They will let us down. Who's to say that tomorrow our money could not be worth a penny? And if we got our trust in money, we won't have anything. But if our trust is in God, and we've got God number one, and we're depending upon God to help us and to sustain us and to provide for us. He said, I'll never leave you, I'll never forsake you. He said, take no thought of tomorrow, what you'll wear, what you'll eat, or what you're going to do. I will supply your every need. He's promised that today. Man can't do that. They can make promises that can't be kept. And we need to realize that. In verse 11, after he's gone back to the Lord, he says, "Thou hast turned for me my mourning into dance, and thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness. To the end my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent. O Lord my God, I will give thanks unto you forever." So you see today, if we'll trust in God, if we'll put him number one and let him be our provider, go to him for our hour of need and when we need help, and trust in him, he will always be there to meet the needs that we may have in our life. Man can't do that. They may promise you, but they can't always do it. God will never fail you. Trust in him today. Have a good day.